Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at a really high-stakes political moment in Japan, a truly dramatic power shift.
Absolutely. We're focusing on Sanae Takaichi,
Right.
the LDP's new president.
And she's now set to become Japan's first ever female prime minister. Historic stuff.
It's huge. But, this didn't come from nowhere or from a position of strength. It actually emerged from a pretty extraordinary crisis.
Right. So our mission here is to give you the shortcut, unpack how this happened.
Exactly. We'll look at the chaotic political collapse that made this election necessary. Takaichi's very conservative platform, they call it the Iron Lady, and then explore the immediate fallout, both domestic instability and what this means internationally.
Okay, so let's start with the breakdown. You don't just get a snap LDP presidential election unless something's gone seriously wrong.
And that something was definitely former Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba. He was in deep trouble. Crippled, really, by losing two major elections.
Back-to-back defeats.
Yeah, under siege. The LDP lost its majority first in the 2024 general election, then again in the 2025 House of Councilors vote.
Wow. Two huge national repudiations. That's gotta hurt.
It did. And you add internal party fighting to that, plus an ethics scandal investigation that Ichiba himself started?
Yeah.
Well, his position just wasn't tenable anymore.
So pressure just built and built until bang.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ishiba resigned September 7th, 2025. And that forced this extraordinary leadership contest.
And the party's official message, the slogan, it was almost painfully honest.
Oh, yeah. Just hashtag change the LDP.
Talk about signaling panic, right? Not stability.
Precisely. They weren't looking for a steady hand. They were desperate for anyone who could stop the bleeding, disrupt that losing streak.
A life raft.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And that desperate search led to this really intense battle, a fight for the LDP's soul, you could say.
So tell us about the vote itself, the procedure, because how they voted is key to understanding Takaichi's win, isn't it?
Absolutely critical. It was what they call a full-scale vote, meant to give the new leader real legitimacy.
So who voted?
It involved all the LDP Diet members, plus, and this is important, all the dues-paying party members across Japan. That's over 900,000 people eligible.
Okay.
But here's what really shows the state the LDP was in. All 5 candidates. They'd all run before and lost.
Really? No fresh faces?
Nope. Veterans looking for another shot, which tells you something about the talent pool, or maybe the party's risk aversion.
So this setup created a pretty dramatic clash, right? Generations, ideologies.
Definitely. You had Shinjiro Koizumi, younger, seen as more of a reformer sometimes.
Right.
Against Sanae Takaichi, deeply conservative and nationalist stalwart.
And the early polls reflected a split within the party?
A really stark division, yeah. Kind of foreshadowed the drama to come. Koizumi was actually leading among general LDP supporters, the broader base.
Okay, so the public mood maybe leaned towards change?
Perhaps.
Yeah.
But Takaichi, she was dominating among the core, the dues-paying members, the party faithful.
Suggesting the party machine itself was still very conservative.
Exactly. The establishment wasn't ready to give up.
Yeah.
And that split, it sent them straight to a runoff vote.
So the first round results.
Okay, first round, 590 total votes, up for grabs. Takaichi came in first, but narrowly. 31.07%.
Close.
Very. Koizumi right behind her at 27.84%. Yoshimasa Hayashi, the chief cabinet secretary, he was knocked out in third.
So it goes to a second round, and this is where the dynamic shifts, right? The runoff mechanism.
This is the crucial part for you to grasp. The runoff dramatically shrinks the electorate. Suddenly, it's less about those hundreds of thousands of party members.
Who favored Koizumi more?
Right. And it becomes much more about the LDP Diet members, plus just one delegate from each prefecture. Power gets concentrated.
So basically, the Diet members, the party establishment, got the deciding vote, overriding the wider membership to some extent.
That's essentially it. It concentrated power right where Takaichi's strength was among those traditional conservative factions in the Diet.
And the result?
A clear, dramatic win for her. October 4th, she got 185 votes, that's 54.25%, against Koizumi's 156.
And just like that, the LDP has its first woman president. Amazing. Confirmation as PM expected soon.
Mid-October, yeah. So she's basically there.
Okay, this rise of Takaichi, Japan's Iron Lady, it's fascinating. Not just the win, but who she is. We need to dig into her background a bit.
Yeah, her path is really unconventional for, a top LDP figure. She's 64, from Nara, not from some big political dynasty.
Which is unusual in Japanese politics.
Very. And her resume is, well, surprising. Get this.
Yeah.
University days. Heavy metal drummer.
Wait, seriously, a heavy metal drummer?
Yep. And then she used that sort of performance experience, I guess, to become a newscaster. Did political analysis on TV before she even ran for office.
Okay, hold on. Heavy metal drummer turned conservative LDP nationalist leader. That's quite the combination. Almost unheard of.
It really is.
Does that unusual background, not being from the elite, actually give her some credibility? Maybe with LDP members tired of the same old families, even if her policies are traditional.
I think it absolutely helps her narrative, that she's an outsider who made it on merit. But yeah, her policies are deeply traditional conservative. She's aligned with the IVE faction, the legacy of Shinzo Abe.
Right. So let's talk policy. Her economic plan, Sananomics. What's the idea there?
It's essentially Abenomics, but maybe even more aggressive on the spending side. She's what economists call a fiscal dove.
Meaning she favors government stimulus.
Big time. Robust spending. Prioritizing growth over, say, immediately balancing the budget.
That's interesting. Using expansionary fiscal policy, often seen as left-leaning, to appeal to conservatives worried about the economy.
Precisely. She's decoupling nationalism from austerity, in a way, saying we can be strong and spend our way to growth.
So spend first, worry about the debt later.
That seems to be the message. She actually said Japan should freeze the balanced budget goal until the Bank of Japan hits its 2% inflation target. And she's ready to issue government bonds for crises.
It's a gamble, though, given Japan's huge debt.
A very high-stakes gamble, huge potential upside if it works, but significant risks.
Okay, turning to foreign policy. Also pretty hardline, reflecting that nationalism.
Oh, yeah. Very hawkish. Domestically, she wants to revise Japan's pacifist constitution, allow for a more proactive military.
And the Yasukuni shrine visits. That's always controversial.
Historically, she's visited regularly.
Yeah.
Which always angers China and South Korea. During the campaign, she was a bit more vague about future visits, but it's definitely part of her political identity.
And internationally, she floated a really provocative idea about Taiwan.
Yeah, she talked about a quasi-security alliance with Taiwan. That's a big shift.
Moving away from strategic ambiguity.
Exactly. It signals Tokyo wants to be a much more active player in regional security.
Yeah.
Washington probably likes the sound of that assertiveness. Beijing, definitely not.
This all feeds into that Margaret Thatcher comparison, doesn't it? She seems to embrace the Iron Lady label.
She does. And she made this incredibly dramatic statement right after winning to the party.
What was that?
She said, I am abandoning the phrase work-life balance as of today.
Wow. That's intense, signaling total dedication.
The intention. But, it also touches a really sensitive nerve in Japan. A dark one, even.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because she's about to be the first female prime minister. A huge historical moment.
Monumental.
But it clashes so sharply with the reality for women in Japan, especially around that work culture she just referenced.
It's a massive paradox.
Yeah.
She breaks the ultimate glass ceiling, right? But female representation in the diet, it's dismal. Around 10%.
Globally ranked very low for women's political empowerment.
Extremely low. And that quote about abandoning work-life balance, it cuts right to the core of the systemic barriers women face there.
Our sources really highlight those barriers. Things like not enough family support, childcare issues.
Combined with Japan's notorious overworking culture. I mean, they have a word for it, akurshi. Death by overwork.
It's unbelievable.
And that pressure makes it almost impossible for women to juggle high-level careers and family responsibilities. Even when women do get elected, the party structures are so male-dominated, they often end up as just symbolic figures.
So Takaichi is really the exception that proves the rule, having climbed that ladder within this very patriarchal system.
Absolutely. And her victory isn't just causing ripples internationally, it's creating immediate instability right at home.
Yeah.
Within her own coalition.
The coalition partner. Komeito. They're crucial, aren't they?
Totally reliant on them for a majority. Komeito is kind of the LDP's more moderate center-left brake pedal, especially on things like pacifism, social issues.
And they warned the LDP about shifting too far right.
Explicitly. They talked about sticking to conservative centrism.
Yeah.
They did not want a hardliner like Takaichi.
But they got one.
They did? And reports suggest some senior Komeito leaders actually threatened to bolt the coalition if Takaichi won, because of her stance on the Constitution, Yasukuni.
So if she pushes her conservative agenda too hard?
She could blow up the coalition. Her government could collapse before it even gets going. Huge internal pressure from day one.
And that internal fragility is matched by really strong, polarized reactions from other countries.
Look at Taiwan. President Lai Ching-te, absolutely thrilled. Sincere and warmest congratulations, called her a steadfast friend. A clear endorsement of her security ideas.
Predictably, China's reaction was cooler.
Much more measured, and pointed.
Oh.
That spokesperson said, it's Japan's internal affair, but
There's always a but.
always. But they hope Japan will honor its political commitments on major issues such as history and Taiwan.
That's not just diplomatic speak. That's a warning shot.
Finley failed, yeah. A warning about her views on history and that Taiwan alliance idea. Meanwhile, the U.S. ambassador was quick with congratulations, reinforcing the alliance, but they know they're dealing with a more assertive Tokyo now.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive, we've seen this dramatic context, right? Ishiba forced out.
A really close, tense election battle decided by that runoff mechanism.
And the result is Sanae Takaichi, first woman LDP president, a conservative nationalist promising big government spending, a hawkish foreign policy.
All while trying to hold together a potentially rebellious coalition. She's got the weight of history on her shoulders, but also immediate serious crises.
Her choices are going to be crucial, redefining Japan's path, potentially.
Absolutely. Both strategically and socially.
So she carries a heavy burden indeed. And here's a final provocative thought for you to mull over. Takaichi has actually vowed to achieve Nordic levels of women in cabinet, like Scandinavia's high representation rates.
That's ambitious.
Very. But given her own quite traditionalist social views, like opposing selective surnames for married couples and the massive patriarchal barriers she herself had to overcome, the question is, can Japan's first female leader, who came up through the political right, genuinely use her power to shake up the very gender landscape that, in many ways, still holds women back?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Can she actually change the system that created her? Or will the system constrain her?
Yeah. A fascinating test ahead. We'll be watching closely. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.